Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start our distance learning program, and this is going to be our first English lesson. Our topic for the day is going to be direct and indirect speech. Now, I will divide the lesson into two halves. In the first session, which is going to be today, I am going to explain to you what is the difference between direct speech and what is the difference between indirect speech and how do we identify them. In the next session, I will teach you how we will change direct speech into indirect speech and indirect speech into direct speech. So let's start. First, let's understand what is direct speech. If you will focus on the word direct, you will understand that direct means coming straight from its source. It's coming directly, it's not coming from some other way, it's coming directly. Directly from where? Directly from the source or the speaker. So when we use words or when we write words which are the exact words of the speaker or of a character, then we call it direct speech. Direct speech is also known as quoted speech. It is saying exactly what the person had said. And how do you identify it? It is always written in speech marks or quotation marks. You know what speech marks and quotation marks are? The inverted commas. Okay, can you see these? These are called quotation marks. So anything which is written between these two quotation marks are exactly the same words which the speaker or the character in a story is saying. This means that it is coming directly from the mouth of the speaker. Right now, when I'm speaking to you, am I speaking to you directly or indirectly? Exactly. I am also speaking to you directly because my words are reaching you directly. There is no other person in between my words and you listening. So when we speak directly or when we write the exact words of the speaker without changing anything and put them in these quotation marks or speech marks, it is called direct speech. Okay, now let's look at the different parts of a direct sentence. The direct sentence is divided into two parts, the reporting clause and the main speech. The reporting clause, as you can see here in the example, it's he said. It could be he said or it could be she said, depending upon the character. It could also be singular or it could be plural. That means I said, he said, she said, or if it is more than one person, then it could be they said, we said. So the reporting clause is the first thing that we write when we are writing a direct sentence. It is always followed by a comma. After the comma, we open the inverted commas and write exactly the same words which the speaker spoke. And it always starts with a capital letter. It is always put inside the inverted commas and ends with a full stop. Now it could end with any other punctuation also, like question mark or an exclamatory mark, but that depends upon the mood of the sentence. If it is a question, of course you are going to put a question mark, not a full stop. Or if it's something exciting or sad or somewhere you have showing some emotions, then you put exclamatory mark. So speech marks are the inverted commas and the punctuation mark comes inside the inverted commas, not outside the inverted commas. Clear? Okay. Now look at another important thing about direct speech. Another important factor about the direct speech is that we do not change its tense. This means that if the speaker is talking in the present tense, the direct speech is written in the present tense. And if the speaker is talking in the past tense, then the words are written in the past tense. And if the speaker is speaking in the future tense, then the tense remains the future. Do we change it when we are writing direct speech? No. So this means we write exactly the words of the speaker. We do not change the tense. Tense means the verb in the action. How and when did the action take place? It is going to remain in the tense in which the speaker is talking. Now let's look at an example. I am 12 years old. Now here our speaker is a girl, and we change the sentence into direct by writing, she said, comma, inverted commas open, I am 12 years old. Now if you look at the sentence, you will see that the first thing you notice are the speech marks or the quotation marks. The exact words of the speaker are written inside the quotation marks. Even the full stop is put inside the quotation mark. Now do you see, have we changed the tense of the verb? No. In our example, it says, I am 12 years old. Did we change the words to she said she was 12 years old? Or did we change it to she said she will be 12 years old? We did not change the tense. It is still the same. The only thing that we added is the speech mark. And we gave it the speaker. The speaker could be a male or it could be a female. It could be a boy or it could be a girl. So over here our speaker was a girl, so we wrote, she said, I am 12 years old. You can write it the other way also, in which you put the speaker at the end. Like, I am 12 years old, she said. So the speaker can come before or at the end of the sentence. But what is the most important thing? That we do not change the tense. And whatever are the words, we put them in the speech mark. Okay, now let's look at another example. Over here our example is, can you give me some food? Now we want to write this example in direct speech. How would we start? The first thing is that we are going to give it a speaker. Here let our speaker be a boy. Because our speaker is a boy, we are going to start writing as he said, comma, inverted commas open, can you give me some food? Question mark, and then inverted commas closed. So what are the things that you notice in this sentence now? The first thing is you gave it a speaker. He said. Then you put the words of the speaker exactly in the same tense. And you put what around it? You put them in speech marks. Where did you put the question mark? Inside the inverted commas or outside the inverted commas? Inside the inverted commas. So everything which was there in our example, we have copied and written it exactly in the same way. Did we change the tense? No, we did not change the tense. This example was, can you give me some food? And we wrote it into direct speech in the same tense, can you give me some food? But to make it into a direct speech, what did we add? We added a speaker, which is he said, and all the speech marks. Clear? Same way as I told before, the speaker can come at the beginning of the sentence or the speaker can come at the end of the sentence. So if we want to put the speaker at the end of the sentence, we will write our sentence, can you give me some food? Inverted commas closed, he said. Clear? Okay, now what are the 3 basic rules of direct speech? The first thing is that speech mark surrounds the section of the speech. That means the words of the speaker are written inside the speech marks. The direct speech always begins with a capital letter, and the punctuations go inside the speech marks. If it is a question mark, a full stop, an exclamatory mark, whatever are the punctuations, they will also be inside the speech mark, not outside it. Okay, now let's look at the indirect speech. Indirect speech is exactly the opposite of the direct speech. It is also known as reported speech. Reported from the word reported, it means that it is not coming from the mouth of the speaker, rather someone else is telling us. So it's not direct, it is indirect. It doesn't use quotation marks. Like the direct speech, the words are written inside the quotation marks. In the indirect speech, there are no quotation marks. What the person said doesn't need to be word for word. That means you can make some changes when you are writing in indirect speech. You do not exactly copy and paste the words of the speaker as in direct speech. And the last thing is the tense changes. The verb tenses change. But in the direct, as I told you before, we do not change the tense. So indirect speech is basically the opposite of the direct speech. Let's take an example to understand indirect speech. Our example is, I am hungry. Now we want to write the sentence in indirect speech. Let our speaker be a girl. So how we are going to write? She said that she was hungry. Now let's start analyzing the sentence from the first point. The first point is, do you see any quotation marks here? No, there are no quotation marks here. Did we change the words of the girl? There are some changes. What is that we have added over here? Exactly, can you see in the bracket? We have added that. And there is another change also. What else has changed in this sentence? Yes, the tense of the verb. In my example, the tense was I am hungry, which is present. But when we changed it into indirect speech, we changed it into past. She was hungry. Let's look at another example. I am going to the bank. Here our speaker is Mary. Let's see how we're going to change the sentence into indirect. Mary said, here we are going to add that she was going to the bank. Now let's analyze. The first thing, do you see inverted commas? No. What did we add? We added that. Is the tense of the sentence the same as the words of the speaker? No. The speaker said, I am going to the bank. But when we wrote it in indirect form, we wrote, she was going to the bank. That means we changed it into the past. So this shows that when we are writing an example in indirect sentence, we do not use quotation marks. We add that and we change the tense of the verb. Clear? Now let's take a look at the indirect or the reported speech sentence. How is it different to the direct speech sentence? From the bus, Ahmed bid farewell to his friends. In indirect speech, no inverted commas or speech marks are used. Can you see any inverted commas? No. The actual words of the speaker are often changed. The spoken words need to be in the correct tense. And there are no reporting clauses within direct speech or the reported speech. So you will see that you will not find any inverted commas. You will see that the tense of the sentence has been changed. And you will also see that there are no reporting clauses. He said, they said, it's not over there. Or if it is there, we add that. Okay, now let's do some exercise sentences so that we make sure that we understood the topic. Correct the wrong sentences. She said that she was watching TV. Now there is something wrong in this sentence. Can you identify what is wrong in this sentence? Exactly. The sentence is indirect. Why it is indirect? Because it says She said that. So what do we have to do to correct it? We need to remove the inverted commas. Exactly. So this sentence is indirect. And the correct answer is, she said that she was watching TV. Full stop. There are going to be no inverted commas. Okay, now let's look at another example. I will buy a new car, Ali said. What is wrong in this sentence? Can you identify the mistake? Yes, the speech marks. They are put in the wrong place. So how are we going to correct it? Exactly. Inverted commas open. I will buy a new car, comma, inverted commas closed. Ali said. The reporting clause does not come inside the quotation marks. Very good. Okay, now look at this sentence. His father told him that he had to take good care of his sisters. What's wrong with this sentence? Can you find out the mistake? Yes, this sentence is an indirect sentence. But how did you know that the sentence was indirect? What was the indicator that you see? Yes, that. That is used when we are writing a sentence in indirect form, not direct form. So how are we going to correct this sentence? We are going to remove the speech marks. So it is going to be, his father told him that he had to take good care of his sisters. Well done. One more example before we finish. The doctor told him that he needs to rest. Again, there is a problem in the sentence. Can you find out? Is it a direct sentence or an indirect sentence? Yes, it is an indirect sentence. How do you know? Exactly, because it has that in it. And what do we do to fix it now? Yes, we remove the speech marks and the comma. So now the sentence is going to be, the doctor told him that he needs to rest. Okay, now let's see if you can identify the difference between direct speech and indirect speech. Let's look at the first one. The father said, honesty is the best policy. Now, can you identify if the sentence is a direct speech or an indirect speech? Very good. It is direct speech. And why is it direct speech? How did you recognize it? Yes, because it has a reporting clause, plus it has inverted commas, and inside the inverted commas, honesty is the best policy. H starts with a capital letter and the full stop comes inside the inverted commas. All these are the things that we check when we say that the sentence is direct speech. Let's look at another example. Mariam said, I am living in Paris. Is this sentence a direct one or an indirect speech? Yes, this is also direct speech. And how do you know it? Because there is a reporting clause, a comma, inverted commas, and the words are inside it. Good. Look at the next one. She says that she is ill. Which sentence is this? Direct or indirect? Indirect. Why do you think it is indirect? Yes, because that is present in the sentence. There are no inverted commas and there is no reporting clause separated with a comma. Very good. Another one. I'm waiting for Sarah, she said. Is the sentence direct or indirect? Very good. It is a direct sentence. And you know why it is direct? Because it has a reporting clause with a comma, and the reported speech is inside the inverted commas. They said that they had taken exercise. Is the sentence direct or indirect? Exactly. This is an indirect sentence. And how can we say that? How do you find out? Yes, the first thing is there are no speech marks. There is no reporting clause separated by a comma. And the sentence also has that. So I hope everyone has understood the topic, the difference between direct speech and indirect speech. In the next session, I will explain to you how we are going to change direct speech into indirect speech.